Different, not less. This is a phrase I use repeatedly to all the parents I meet. I have seen a lot of families sitting across me over the last 22 years with a lot of diagnostic files and a lot of medical interventions done earlier, saying them and screaming out loud that their child has autism or ADHD. One thing that I see in common is the love in their eyes, the confusion, the fear, and a little hope. That is where I stand. Hope. There is a lot of hope. Not only hope, but a lot of scientific interventions speak loud and clear that autism, ADHD, learning disabilities are not diseases. We doctors refer to them as neurodivergence, not neurodiseases. Neurodivergence means the brain of your child is different. It is not less, and that is where I tell again and again, different, not less. Let's think of any child. A growing brain is like a bustling city road. There's a lot of commotion going on inside there, but there is a system to regularize it, right? Traffic signals, designated pathways, which a child learns along the way to regulate itself. The parks, the cities, the roads, the traffic lights, everything exists in a normal child and as well as a neurodivergent child. But the problem is, how does it function? There is a little of malfunction or a different wiring that is happening in a child with neurodivergence. And that is where I mean the intelligence is there. Your child is not dumb. Your child is not of low IQ. It is all there. The potential between a normal child and a neurodivergent child is equal. But when the traffic signal doesn't work properly, or there is a lot of diversions and a lot of cross cuts happening in the brain, the car or the intelligence functions differently. This is where intervention, I didn't mean a treatment, an intervention is very important for a child with neurodivergence, and that too in the very early ages. When I say early age and therapy, the main question is, how do we identify it early, right? So I would say a parent's gut feeling is always important. It is the first and foremost thing that screams out, something is wrong with my child. As a doctor, let me list it out. If a child doesn't look at you and speak, or look at you and smile at the age of 1 year, if the child doesn't call you ma, pa, etc. at the age of 1 year to 1.5 years, if the child does not respond to you when you call out the child's name in a crowded setting, or even at your home, this should ring an alarm. If the child prefers to stay alone, sit alone, does not even convey its hunger, its thirst, or does not cry when you leave the child alone at home, yes, that is also an alarm sign. If this happens, please take the child to a child development physician or a pediatrician. They will definitely able to guide you through whether it is a normal neurotypical behavior or one that needs a support. When parents reach us at the early age, we have certain tools things to assess these children. The one we use in India is called ISA, Indian Scale of Autism Assessment. This has rating of the child's behavior in various domains, not only speech or motor development, but in other social and emotional behavior and sensory sensitivity as well. When we score this, we'll be having a progress card or a support card on what the child actually feels, what the potential is, and this card becomes the basis for us to guide the child and the parent through the process of recovery. So, is something happening at home or something that you did cause the problem? That's a guilt every parent carries on his or her shoulder when they come to us. Let me make it loud and clear. You did not cause it. Science has not pointed a single reason for occurrence of autism. There may be a group of circumstances, genetic traits, prenatal or pregnancy factors, postnatal infections, or postnatal environmental factors which has caused it. As the causes are diverse, so are the treatments. Is it treatable? Can my child with autism improve? All I hear around is about occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ABA. Is there anything more which can give a solid support to my child's development? Yes, we can. A child's development is always compared to the development of a plant. All seeds don't thrive in the same way in all environments. Each child is unique, right? So is their needs. All these tests and evaluations of these children will give us a picture on what the child needs to make it develop into its fullest potential. We do not promise you to give you a different child or a cure because in the first place, we are not calling it a disease. We are here to develop a program to make the child live happier and fuller life, and more importantly, an independent life. Are you hearing these words of autism and ADHD very frequently over the past few years? Has COVID actually increased the incidence of these neurodivergent children? Scientific facts say no. There is no established evidence of connection between vaccination or any prenatal specific infections to autism. But what we physicians understand is there is a lot of increase in detection of autism due to improvement in awareness. A lot of social media has improved the awareness of these neurodivergence to parents. Second thing is the taboo around neurodivergent children are coming down. Parents do not fear to say that their child needs support. They come forward to us boldly to support their children. Third one is there is a lot of increase in support and latest advancement in treatment which are being a promise to be children with neurodivergent populations. So with improving awareness, reducing taboos or stigmas, and increased support, this is progressive. That's what we feel. The society has becoming more inclusive, adaptive, and ready to help out children with neurodivergence. And that is a very good news because the incidence of autism, which was reported as 5 to 8% earlier around the world, has varied so much over the last few years. In India, we have an incidence of around 1 in 68% children reporting to have neurodivergence, either autism, ADHD, learning disability, or any of the neurodivergence. Scenario in the grown or well-developed Western counterparts is even more alarming. In the US, the statistics screams that it is 1 in 32 children, and certain doctors, they have recorded an increase of around 1 in 15 to 16 children in certain ethnic groups around the world. All these are pushing us so hard that we need to find a protocol and support for the parents as well as the children to know more about what can be done, right? That is where we are heading to. I want to discuss about the age-old fundamental therapeutics like occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ABA, which are still the cornerstones of treatment. But we have grown a little more and far better therapies are also available. I would like to discuss about the advanced treatment protocols available, the promises it offers, and what is in the pipeline, what is building up, evidence-based research is going on into treatment of autism children as well. Let's explore one by one. The latest advancement or the promising treatments in the area of autism spectrum disorder includes various brain stimulation protocols. As I said, the functioning of a neurodivergent child's brain is different. They communicate differently. The wiring is different. So, how do we set the rhythm back into the normal pace? That is where audio-visual entrainment is a very important tool that I personally use for children with autistic spectrum, especially when it includes the hyperactivity counterpart. A child with hyperactivity has a brain that is buzzing with a lot of signals all at the same time. So how do we pace it? How do we calm it down? Here, audiovisual therapy. We use specific vibrations that can actually bring your brain actions into rhythm, back to a normal pattern, predictable pattern, so that the child does not feel the need to run always. This is always the first part of treatment that we take up. When the child is a little calmer, if the hyperactivity is a little lesser, then it is the time for other interventions. How does the therapy do this? Music is not only art. It is proven as a therapy to reorganize your brain functions for so long. There are specific equipments and therapeutic modalities designed to bring your brainwaves act in a certain pattern, active and alert, calm and listening, or into the sleep mode. So we physicians use it as per the child's need to tune it into the normal rhythm that we need. So, is that safe? Is that proven? Yes, it is very much safe. These are all US FDA approved treatment protocols that we follow, and it is quite useful and proven that in 6 weeks to 12 weeks, a child's hyperactivity symptoms as per the ISA score comes down to around 15 to 20 points. And that's a good news, right? We also have other brain stimulation protocols like transcranial direct current stimulation. Sounds alarming, right? Current stimulation to brain in a child. It is not that scary to say. Brain is supposed to be the center house or the control center for all the functions of the body. And specific areas of the brain control specific functions. When a child is not talking yet, even at the age of 5 years, then we call it as a nonverbal autism. In children like that, we need to give an extra push or an extra stimulation to the speech and auditory area. So we need to talk about other treatment protocols as well. Transcranial direct current stimulation. These sounds are very big and scary, but clearly the treatment is not. They are milliamperes of current which are sent through the scalp, not through the brain. So it's sent through the scalp, which can actually reach specific areas of brain to stimulate specific functions. For example, if the child is not speaking for even after a significant time of therapy, we stimulate the speech area so that the child starts talking. We have had children who have called their parents Amma, Appa at the age of 6 years, 8 years. Such a sound of music to ears. These milestones, though they are very small, calling a word, these are very, very important and significant, not only to the parents, but even to us. We always have an ice cream party, the whole team, to celebrate small milestones like this, because it means a world to the parents who have been waiting for years to hear that. And then comes the latest treatments like stem cells and hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Stem cells and oxygen therapy are still emerging treatments. Scientific evidences are building up. But I talk here based on my own personal experiences, where we have used these modalities on children with autism, ADHD, and other neurodivergent conditions. There are promising results. And before we move on to the standard treatment protocols of occupational therapy or speech therapy or ABA, I want you all to know about latest emerging technologies, hyperbaric oxygen therapy and stem cell therapies in autism. Are they really helpful? Are they a scam? Are they really useful? These are the questions in every parent's mind. Yes, these are emerging technologies. We have scientific evidences are building up. I talk from my own personal experience. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, yes. For the hundreds of children we have used this therapy, we have significant improvement in their milestones in a very short period of time, which I would call it as step-up protocols. You are able to cross a step in a specific time, after which we work on consolidating the gains and then work on the next goal. Stem cell therapy is a buzzword. Stem cells are used to treat a lot of neuroinflammatory conditions, and scientific studies have shown that autism is also a part of chronic neuroinflammation. The brain cells have continuous inflammation going on, and in that way, stem cells are a promise for children with autism. Can you measure it? Can you give me a timeline of how much time should I wait, or how long is it going to take for my child to improve? And that's a question we need to explore one-on-one, because as I said, these children, each one are unique, but a general timeline would be most children benefit with 100 days or 3 months of intensive rehab protocol, followed with break of 3 months. There we give an in-house program. They come back again for the next goal to be achieved, and then it goes on like that till the child can be integrated into a normal school. Normal school, autistic children, are they IQ normal? Will my child be ever able to learn like a normal child? I have a very good news. A very small percentage of children with autism have less IQ. More than 50% have average intelligence. That is the normal intelligence of any average child. The learning pattern of these children might differ. Some might be dyslexic who require special kind of teaching, special method of teaching, not because their IQ is not less, because their learning type is different. And then there are hyperlexic children or the high functional autistic children. These children actually have a very high IQ, more than you and me. They are highly functional. There are children who outperform adults in physics, chemistry, biology, and maths, even at the young and tender age of 4 to 6 years. These children are called high functional autism, and they also will need a special training, not because they are less, but they are more. They are more than any normal children. So integration into an academic curriculum, being focused and being able to lead an independent life is a very positive prospect and very much possible for children with autism. So occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ABA therapy, they form the fundamental or the core of these treatment. Though all these brain stimulation programs will improve the outcome, the basis of treatment remains the same. Occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ABA. And adding on these will definitely improve the prospects and increase the outcome. So when should we start it? Any time before the age of 3 years is wonderful, because in that young age, every day your brain cells are making a lot of new connections. And when we start early, we will train the brain to function in the normal way without finding any blocks easier and earlier. 3 to 6 years is also a very good time to start these treatments, because when we get the children early, the target is to integrate them into their first standard, grade 1 at the age of 6 years, into a integrative curriculum with a little or more of support as they need. So always start early, and 3 years and below is very important. So after talking about all that can be done in the hospital, there is a question always parents ask: what can I do for my child? What can be done at home? In what way can I make the child feel better? How do I connect to my child better? The child seems to live in a different world. How do I do that? That is where a home program, an inclusive, parent-inclusive home program comes into play. The professional, the rehab professionals you are working with, be an occupational therapist or an ABA specialist, they will be able to guide you on fixing up certain routine protocols. Autism children love routines. They love predictability. They love knowing what it is going to happen again. They literally hate chaos. They literally hate indecisiveness or impromptu circumstances. As a parent, it is important for you to know that a stable environment at home, predictable routine to be set at home is important. There are certain games that can be played with the children, progressing from step 1 to step 2, 3, 4, 5. depending on where the child is. It could be a simple jump together routine, hop in, hop out, building a small house with a block, or it can even transform to doing a science project, weaving a very intricate blanket with your child, depending on the child's sensitivity or the child's profile. So, here is what I would like to talk to you again. Parents of autism children, parents, relatives, friends, anybody who wants to know and who cares about neurodivergent children, I will tell you their world is so beautiful. It is us, we are trying to make them fit in our world. So they have a very different potential. This is very much possible, and your child's brain, it's beautiful, it's functional, it's intelligent, it is not broken. They have a very big potential in their own way. And I complete with the same phrase I tell again and again, they are different, not less. Thank you.